Okay, we're standing here on the top of this belfry in St. Sophia Cathedral, and downway you see a wonderful St. Michael Cathedral. This is wonderful blue-colored cathedral. This building, this cathedral, actually was destroyed in not in ancient time, but in Soviet time, in 1936. Yeah, because it was a Stalinist communist time, and it was restored approximately 20 years ago in 1995. And so this restoration was pretty good, and you can come inside to see wonderful pictures inside this cathedral. And here down there you see very interesting monument. This is a square of Bogdan Khmel'nitskiy square, and Bogdan Khmel'nitskiy on the horse. Who was Bogdan Khmel'nitskiy? He was a hetman of Ukraine in 1748 in 17th century. And hetman, this is a military leader of Cossack groups, of Cossack state. And Bogdan Khmel'nitskiy, he was elected by Cossacks, and his great achievement was fighting against Polish state, Polska Pospolita, Rich Pospolita. This was a very strong empire in this time, which was very powerful in this time in Europe. And all Ukraine, present Ukraine, the Ukrainian territory belonging to Polska Pospolita, Rich Pospolita. And actually, he started this Ukrainian revolt, you can say Ukrainian revolution in this time. And actually, everything started from the conflict between two men who wanted to marry one woman. And it started in the village of Subotiv in Chernigov, near Chernigov city. This is slightly southern from Kyiv. And in this village, they were belonging to Bogdan Khmel'nitskiy because he was pretty powerful and he was a rich person. He was a military person at this time, and one Polish person, Chaplinsky, Polish leader, he came to his estate and confiscated this estate. And also, he found one very pretty lady over there, and he wanted to marry this lady. And Chaplinsky and Khmel'nitskiy, they had kind of fighting for his estate and the lady. Finally, lady married Chaplinsky. Khmel'nitskiy lost his estate, and Ukraine received a revolt. Because Khmel'nitskiy came from Subotiv to Sich, Cossack Sich, and he asked people to help him because he lost his estate. He could create independent Ukrainian state. And Cossacks, they were pretty free people. They supported him, and they managed kind of fighting against Polish. So they created a huge army. They came to Polish borders. They had a huge fighting in Yellow Waters. This was a small village, and Polish army was heavily beaten. But later, this army stopped near Warsaw, near city, and it was 1684. Yeah, and Bogdan Khmel'nitskiy was in doubt what to do, because actually he got Polish education. He knew 5 languages. He knew French, he knew Polish, Ukrainian, Russian, Latin language, and he was educated in Warsaw. He had a good connection with Warsaw and with Władysław II, the king of Polish Empire, Polish state, and he didn't enter Warsaw. So he came back. He came back to Sich, to Cossack state, and he lost his chance because Poland state still was very, very powerful. If he entered Warsaw in 1647, maybe Polish state was much more destroyed and lost his power. But he came back to Sich and tried to do his fighting against maybe neighbors. And always, Khmel'nitskiy was very clever. He couldn't beat actually Polish army only by Cossacks well-organized Polish army, but we used the power of Tatars. Tatars, of course, from the south. Tatars were very happy to come to other places, to own some treasures, to destroy something, and they always supported Khmel'nitskiy. Not always, because, you know, in some situations, they also escaped. For example, in one place, Polish army heavily attacked Cossacks. And from one place, this was just a very wet place, and from three sides, Cossacks' army was surrounded. But Tatars' army lost. They just attacked Polish and they wanted to escape. So Tatars escaped from military situations, and all these Cossacks, they were surrounded. And usually, what Cossacks they did in a very strange situation, usually they gave their leader to attackers. There are several situations like that. If Cossacks were in very difficult situations, they can sell their leader for some price. So, and they could escape from this different situation. So Khmel'nitskiy was in a very, very strange situation. So he tried to get support for Tatars. So he also escaped from his army. It was quite strange. Army was surrounded. No Khmel'nitskiy. Tatars, they will go out. And Khmel'nitskiy will go out. Finally, Khmel'nitskiy came to Tatars and asked, "Why did you escape?" They said, "Okay, Polish army pretty heavy. We couldn't fight with them. We're afraid them a little." So, but Khmel'nitskiy persuaded them to support Cossacks' army. But after several days, because this battle just finished, some part of Cossacks were heavily beaten, but some escaped. They moved out. But they couldn't stop their fighting, because they didn't have Khmel'nitskiy, they didn't have nothing to sell. So finally they escaped here. They were not completely beaten by Polish. And here Khmel'nitskiy appeared. They said, "Okay, I came here from Tatars' army with Tatars, so I am here, I am your leader." They said, "Okay, you came in a good time, we still survived because of this heavy battle, so we will support you. Let's fight with this bloody Polish again." So he survived, his army survived, and his prestige survived as well. Khmel'nitskiy was very, very clever. But nevertheless, you see, this Cossack state was powerful, but sometimes the power of Cossacks, they were on different sides of Dnieper River. You see, Dnieper is coming from the north to the south, so left side of Dnieper, right side of Dnieper. So Cossacks were on left side of Dnieper, and right side of Dnieper was under the Polish power. That's why the still Cossacks they were fighting all the time with Polish, and all this time it was approximately 100 years. Pretty long time, you can imagine. One hetman just changed another hetman. One military leader came, next military leader came. After Bogdan Khmel'nitskiy, hetman, or powerful hetman was Yuri Khmel'nitskiy, or the son of Khmel'nitskiy. But he was pretty weak. He wanted to receive help from Polish state, and it was not very popular between Cossacks. So he was military leader for a very short time, approximately 6 months. So this leader just put down, another military leader appeared again. And all this was a pretty difficult situation, because you see, Polish state were on one side, Turkish, Tatars, Russia, Lithuanian state was nearby. So all of these states were surrounded present Ukraine. And this time it was not still Ukrainian state. And finally, all this fighting finished in Pereyaslav agreement between Cossacks army and Moscovite Russian army, where they signed special agreement that Cossacks will be for Russian state and they will support Russian Moscovite state. So officially they were accepted by Russia. And in this time, still siege this army of Cossacks still remained here. But still Cossacks were pretty independent. They were always fighting. Sometimes they were not clever, just to be under the power of very powerful neighbor. So they wanted to be free. But finally, you see, in certain time, Empire, the Catherine II, declared that Ukrainian Cossack siege has no power to exist. So they said, okay, Cossacks could not gather all together, so they could be only under the power of Russian army. And it was not very popular always for Cossacks. So they still were fighting, and after them there was also the battle under the Poltava with Swedish army. If you remember, Swedish army came to Ukraine. We were fighting with Peter the Great, Russian great military leader, and Swedish were heavily beaten near Poltava. This was all time during all the centuries. So you can imagine Ukraine had pretty interesting time of fighting during 1,500 years ago till the present time. And if you can read historical books, you can find a lot of different facts about it. And even all these changes of Ukrainian military leaders, hetmans, it's written in school textbooks, how they change one to another. It's a very complicated story to understand. So, but let's see. Now Cossacks, they also have some power, and there are some descendants, people who like traditions of Cossacks in Ukraine. People dress like Cossacks, they have their clothes Cossacks. They come into this place during holidays of Ukraine, during the Day of Independence. They keep military traditions, they keep Ukrainian traditions of Cossacks, and it's very popular. They have very nice dress, red trousers, very colorful shirts. They keep even some swords. They have a military, they have very military awards on here. They have some military traditions, colonel,
but not for a lot of them. But it's like a special.
They're proud about it. So we keep tradition not only between adults, but try to put it from adults to children to keep tradition forward. And I know such people, and we appreciate traditions and the efforts to keep these Ukrainian traditions ahead. Okay?
Yes. Okay.